Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Sleeper Colts. I am your host, as always, Cody Felger, guys. Recapping day 3 of training camp for the Indianapolis Colts, the Colts' third straight practice out at Grand Park today, and definitely some interesting things that happened today, which I definitely want to talk about today, and really do appreciate everybody who has been tuning in for these daily recaps of Colts camp, and really excited to continue to do these. So if this is your guys' first episode, we're going to be dropping new content here on camp every time there's a practice, as much as I possibly can. So definitely, if you want to follow along, do a couple things, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you know when we drop fresh episodes just like this. Again, shout out to Sleeper, as always, for sponsoring this and every episode of Sleeper Colts. So with that being said, guys, some interesting tidbits today for the Indianapolis Colts that I'm excited to talk about today. We'll start with the injury report right now for Indianapolis. So a couple players who did not participate in today's practice. Wide receiver Alec Pierce still remains on that PUP list. We'll see if he makes his return next week or in the next week after that. We'll kind of have to see on that. Running back Jonathan Taylor, tight end Mo Alley Cox, defensive tackle Grover Stewart, and cornerback Charvarius Ward all had rest days today. Linebacker Akeem Davis-Gaither, who missed yesterday and today's practice, is dealing with an illness, so he remains out as it currently stands. Now, on the positive side of things, we got to see the debut of second-round pick C.J. Allen, and he not only participated, but he started at linebacker for this team, and we got to see kind of a rookie combination there of C.J. Allen and Bryce Betcher to start camp on day 3. So that's definitely great. Betcher's been getting a lot of run with obviously C.J. Allen being out the first 2 games or the first 2 practices. And now with Akeem Davis-Gaither missing a couple days in a row, we get to see more of Betcher, which I think is great. And just from a C.J. Allen standpoint, he's obviously a big deal for your defense, and great to have him back as kind of that green dot guy. You know, we've heard a lot about how he's going to be commanding this defense and getting guys in the right position. And so having him here as early as he is back at camp is certainly a positive thing there. So that's definitely great for sure. Now, as we continue on, let's talk about what happened today in terms of this Colts practice. So Daniel Jones, another 4 of 8 day, nothing too crazy. DJ Giddens continues to drop passes. That's definitely concerning, and maybe something that the Colts want to look outside and think about. Maybe we need to look at another back who can actually catch out of the backfield, because Giddens has had his fair share of issues already through the first 3 practices here in camp. So that might be something the Colts consider for sure. Now, Jones had a couple nice passes to Nick Westbrook-Akine, who got a little bit more involved today. That's great to see, especially because we know Westbrook-Akine is going to be vying for that number 3 wide receiver position in a lot of ways. So great to see there. Westbrook-Akine was getting a little bit more involved. We've heard a little bit about him in the red zone, but good to see him getting a little bit more involved in this offense overall. Now, he threw a couple other passes, one to Laquan Treadwell, one to Ashton Dulin as well. Continues to do the things we wondered if he could do, using his legs, rolling out, throwing, doing the things that we all hoped he could do but weren't sure early on in camp 100% if he was going to be able to do those things, no limitations, and he certainly has been able to do that. So that is definitely great news there for Daniel Jones. He continues to avoid turnover-worthy plays, which is definitely good news there 100%. And when in regards to the backup quarterback position, we got to see the tale of 2 Anthony Richardsons once again. He had a huge, incredible highlight play that he threw the ball down the field to undrafted wide receiver Samir Hagans. But then the next couple plays, he had a mishandled snap, and then he got sacked. And so it's just like, man, that's just the Anthony Richardson experience in a nutshell. He can throw it 50 yards, but he can't handle a snap, can't read the defense, he can't make a throw. It's always something with Anthony Richardson. But that was the highlight play there. And Richardson was the technical backup to start, just like we saw in day 1 of camp. And Riley Leonard was the other quarterback, but he got the majority of those second-team reps today. I would assume tomorrow is going to be this kind of the flip-flop once again, where Riley Leonard is technically the backup, but Richardson gets a little bit more of the reps with that second-team offense. So we'll just have to see how that continues to go. But Leonard went 4 of 6 today as the backup quarterback for the majority of practice. So that was definitely great for sure there. I already mentioned Westbrook Akine had a couple nice plays down the field, had a deep pass, a little bit underthrown, but he made the catch in front of Sauce Gardner. So that's definitely great there. A couple other things that I want to kind of talk about as well. DeForest Buckner progressed into 11 on 11s for the first time for the Colts. And that's certainly good news because so far, even though he had been cleared, he'd only really done individual stuff. And so now he got his way back to the 11 on 11 session, which is definitely great news and great progression for DeForest Buckner as well. So that was definitely good, 100% there. I already mentioned the fact that we got to see the rookie linebackers work together here for the first time in camp, which is certainly great. We got to see a little bit of Seth McGowan having a couple flashes. So right now, I would probably say Seth McGowan is edging out DJ Giddens, at least according to what we've heard so far. So we'll see how that running back position behind JT does continue to pan itself out. But it appears McGowan's impressing. DJ Giddens has been disappointing so far. So that's definitely unfortunate. You know, we did get to see the first glimpses of the kicking battle ensue here between obviously Blake Grupe and Spencer Schrader. And I tell you what, man, Blake Grupe, ever since he's come to Indianapolis, he has been on a tear with this team. He has been incredibly accurate. He has not missed very many kicks at all. And that was the case today. He was perfect on his kicks. He was 6 of 6 on his kicks, ranging from short kicks to long kicks. He did a little bit of everything, and he was perfect everywhere. And Schrader was 5 of 6. He missed 1 from 50 yards, hooked it to the left. But overall, guys, this is still going to be an interesting battle. I still think that Blake Grupe is the favorite, in my opinion. If you're making cuts tomorrow, I think Grupe is your kicker. But we'll have to see how this competition continues to work itself out here. But so far, Blake Grupe has been the better kicker through the first 3 weeks, through the first 3 practices here for the Colts. So we'll just have to see, guys, on that. A couple other things that I want to also point to as well. You know, Carly Ursay-Gordon talked a little bit about a couple different things. She said she spoke to the team earlier this week, provided the mantra of this idea of finding a way. She believes the team has all pieces necessary to win at the highest level. And so that's definitely great. She also was talked a little bit about contract extension. She said she's open to that for some players, especially Jonathan Taylor. So that's definitely great there. So that was really it, though, guys, as far as some of the news that came out today. The biggest one, obviously, being C.J. Allen returning for the first time for Colts camp off the PUP list. Again, we'll see with Alec Pierce when he does return as well. Hopefully next week would be the goal there for Alec Pierce. That would certainly be great news there. And as you're kind of looking at how this Colts offense and defense looked, we got to see a little bit of a variety, especially on defense when it came to that. We got to see, obviously, the offense, Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor, Laquan Treadwell continues to get run there. Mo Alley Cox, Drew Ogletree, Tyler Warren, all were, playing big roles with this offense. You had Bernard Ryman, Quentin Nelson, Tanner Bortolini, Matt Gonsalves, Jalen Travis. Nothing shocking there. Defensive-wise, it looked a little bit different, though. You obviously have Latu out there, but you got to see a little bit of Derek Nottie, and you got to see a little bit of Adi Tamiwa out of Baware, and also Jalen Tuimuluau, who to start camp didn't really get a whole lot of looks, but starting yesterday and today, he's now starting to get a lot more looks with the one. So that's definitely encouraging from that standpoint there. You would love for Tuimuluau to take that other edge position. It's been Arden Key early, but Tuimuluau starting to get a little bit of run there. So that's definitely great news there. Got to see, obviously, with Charvarius Ward not practicing because of the rest, we got to see a little bit of Cam Taylor-Britt on the outside. And that's kind of just a question of, like, if one of these 2 top corners on the outside goes out, who's kind of that next man up, right? And it appears to be Cam Taylor-Britt as that third outside corner right now for this team. That's definitely great. Hunter Wooler continues to be that strong safety, which is definitely great there. So we'll have to see, guys, how it continues. The Colts have another practice tomorrow. Then they'll have Sunday off. And then we'll be back to week 2 of training camp for Indianapolis. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below in regards to all these news around training camp for this team. Thank you guys so much. Like I said at the top, if you haven't already, be sure to do a couple things. Hit that like button. Hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell. It helps me out, helps push the channel out to more people. But thank you guys so much. And as always, guys, have a good one.